All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you. Mr. Kelly is still on the stand because Mr. Hugley, Thomas Hugley, has previously testified in another proceeding under oath, and you did hear that Mr. Hugley has passed away. So Mr. Kelly is then going to read Mr. Hugley's testimony. Mr. LaPrinzi will ask the questions, and the rest of us will answer as we do in the transcript. I want to, though, inform you again, you have to treat Mr. Kelly as if it's Mr. Hugley. You have to rely on your collective memories as to what the testimony is. You will not be given a copy of the transcripts. Furthermore, you have to disregard any type of inflection that Mr. Kelly may inadvertently put in his voice and just listen to the words. All right. You may proceed, Mr. LaPrinzi.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, if you would, please let everybody know who you are by telling us your full name and spell your last name for the court reporter.
Thomas Hugley, Hugley.
Mr. Hugley, how old are you?
70.
Have you grown up your whole life in Akron?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, what do you do for a living?
Landscaper.
All right. When you say landscaper, what kinds of landscaping do you do?
Cut grass.
How long have you been doing that?
About 10 years, 11 years.
Okay.
A couple years now.
So what did you do? Did you have a profession or did you do anything prior to that?
No, laborer.
Laborer?
Yeah.
So construction type.
Yeah.
All right. And did you do that most of your life?
No, off and on.
Off and on?
Yeah.
Do you know an individual by the name of Lindell Lewis?
Yes, I do.
How do you know Lindell?
We played ball together at South High School. We went to school together.
You played ball together?
Yes, sir.
In high school?
Yes, sir.
And did you say South?
South High School, yeah.
What year would that have been?
66, 67, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know.
What position did you play?
Defensive linebacker.
All right. And did you graduate from high school?
No, not from South. I graduated, though.
Where did you graduate from?
Field High School.
Field High School?
Yes, sir, in Mansfield, Ohio.
Say that again?
Mansfield, Ohio.
What about Lindell? Do you know where he graduated from?
He graduated from South.
Okay. So you obviously moved, right?
Yeah.
And so you did, let me start that again. And so did you lose contact with Lindell?
Yeah, for a period of time, yeah.
All right. When did you meet back up with Lindell?
I guess back in the 80s.
Back in the 80s?
Yeah.
How did you meet up with Lindell?
I was cutting grass. He asked if I would work for him, and I worked for him.
You did work for him?
Yes, sir.
So since the 80s, have you been in relatively continuous contact with Lindell?
No,
When did you lose contact again? If you know.
Back in the 90s. We hooked back up back in the 90s sometime. Yeah.
And at some point in time, did you ever live with him?
Yes, sir.
When did you move in with Lindell?
2000 something, 2007 or 2008.
2007 or 2008?
Yes.
Was Lindell married?
No, not that I know of.
Never?
I don't know.
Do you know who Francine is?
Yes.
Who is that?
Is that Jeannie?
Jeannie?
I don't know what her first name is. I just know her as Jeannie. Yeah.
You're talking about Gloria Jean Hart?
Yeah.
I'm talking about somebody named Francine. Do you know somebody named Francine?
No, I don't know her.
So when you moved into Mr. Lindell's house, where was that located?
719 Fultz.
Okay, and if you look to your left there is a photograph. Do you see it?
Yeah.
All right. Do you recognize that area?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you this little pointer right here. Do you see this thing here? If you push that little silver button, see this little green dot? You can point to it. Please point to the house where you lived. Okay. Your Honor, we ask the record reflect he's pointing to 719 Fultz on State's Exhibit number 1. And Your Honor, outside the transcript, I would indicate that State's Exhibit number 1 at that time was State's Exhibit number 12 that is currently being displayed on the easel.
All right, and then the record will so reflect.
Thank you. Mr. Hugley, where did you say you lived in the house?
Down in the basement.
Okay. And did you live in the basement the entire time you lived with Mr. Lewis?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you pay rent to live there?
Yes, sir.
How much did you pay?
$250 a month. I think it's $250.
Okay. And the basement, how was it set up as far as getting access to it from outside and from inside?
From outside, you come in from the side door. From the inside, you come in from the kitchen.
Okay.
Down the side steps there.
So with your pointer, show me what side of the house you could enter the basement. Okay, so if I'm standing in the street facing your house, it would be on the right side?
Yeah.
And you could go in the side door there.
Yes, sir.
And then there were steps.
Yes.
And you'd go down the steps and you're in the basement.
Yeah.
Could you go from the basement into the house, or did you have to go outside and around?
When I first lived there, we go to the basement and go through the house. After I'd been there for a while, he done blocked the kitchen off where you couldn't go up there.
All right. So you had kind of like a little apartment downstairs.
Yeah.
All right. So you couldn't go from the basement up into the house.
No.
Other than you, who else lived in the house with you and Lindell?
Ronald Garrett.
Where did he stay?
He stayed on the other side of the basement.
On the other side of the basement?
Yeah.
Do you know if he paid rent?
Yeah.
Anyone else live in the house?
No.
Just the three of you?
Well, Jeannie would be there sometimes, you know.
Okay. So she would spend the night on occasion?
Yeah.
Did she have her own place somewhere else too?
Yeah.
How long did you know Jeannie?
I guess a couple years.
Okay. Describe for me the neighborhood. Describe for me the neighbors who lives, again, if I'm standing in front of your house,
Yeah.
off to the left, who lives in that house?
You mean on this side right here?
No, if I'm standing in front of your house,
Oh, all right.
facing your house, we can do it the other way. If I'm standing on your porch, maybe that's a better way to do it. We've heard testimony you spent time on the porch. Is that fair?
Yeah.
So if you're sitting on the porch on your right side, who lives in that house?
That house is empty on the right side. It's where the fence was at. That house is empty.
Point to where you're talking about.
Right in there.
Now point to the other side of the house. Who lives in that house?
Nick?
Okay. Do you know his last name?
No, I don't.
So let's look on Fultz across the street. On the corner of Hillcrest and Fultz.
Yeah.
Do you see it says 17? Excuse me, 1370 Hillcrest.
Yeah.
Who lives in that house?
Stan?
Okay, and see next door is 1374 Hillcrest? Do you know who lives in that house?
Both of them is Stan's house.
How do you know that?
He cut the grass at both of them.
Did you ever see him go into both of them?
Yes, I have.
Do you ever see anybody else go into those houses?
His wife and his kids.
Which house do they go into?
Both of them. They normally stay right there, though.
They normally stay right there?
Yeah.
Straight behind 1370 Hillcrest. You see behind it in the backyard, there's a house.
Yeah.
Point to it, please. Do you know who lived in that house?
The young boy, that's all I know. Young boy.
You didn't even know his name?
No, I cut his grass, but I never did know his name. I know his mama.
What was her name?
Her name was... It's been a while.
That's okay.
It's been a while.
So, Mr. Hugley, what color was the house back in 2016? Do you know?
Her house? That house?
Yeah, the last one you pointed to.
I don't think it was that color.
Okay.
I don't think it was that color, no.
All right. So the person that lived in that house was a young fellow that you cut his lawn, you said.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any issues with him?
No,
Did he always pay you?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever have any words with him?
No,
Did you ever see anybody else have any words with him?
No.
Lindell?
No.
Jeannie?
No.
How about the house past that house up?
That one right there?
Do you know who lived in that house?
Some boy used to stay there. He stayed at my house there for a minute, too. I forget what his name was, but he done some work in that house. He done some work in that house and he ended up moving out of that house. But he stayed in the basement for a little while.
Stayed in the basement with you?
Yeah,
Did you ever cut his lawn?
no,
Did you ever have any problems with him?
no,
Did Lindell or Jeannie have any problems with him that you were aware?
no,
Did you ever see anybody else have any problems with him?
no, yeah.
You said yeah, and
Yeah, Stan had problems with him.
all right. Did you witness that? Did you see?
Yeah.
What did you see?
I seen him cussing him out, telling him he told me he had some work for him, you know. That's the work they be doing, putting some work. Not that kind of work, I mean fighting work, you understand.
So slang for fighting is putting some work?
Yeah,
All right. You never saw them physically fight though.
no,
You just heard the threat.
yeah,
Now I'd like you to look at 714 Fultz. Do you see that house?
yeah,
Go ahead and point to that with the pointer. Do you know who lives there?
yeah. Chester.
Chester?
I call him Chucky Poo.
Chucky?
Chucky Poo, yeah,
Chucky Poo.
yeah.
Okay, should we ask if there's a reason behind that name?
No, his name is Chuck. They called him Chuck, but his real name I think is Chester though.
You called him Chucky Poo, but I'm going to stick with Chuck if that's all right.
All right.
All right, how long have you known Chuck?
Since I've been staying over there at Lindell's house, yeah.
And would you say he's older or younger than you?
He's older.
How much older?
I don't know, I guess about 3 years, 4 years.
All right. How old did you say you were?
I'm 7, I will be 70 this year. I will be 70 July 5th. I'm 69.
All right. And so Chuck you knew him better than these other people we've been talking about, is that right?
Yes.
How did you know him? Did you guys hang out?
I done work in his yard. I helped put that fence up in his backyard. I put that fence up for him. I used to cut his grass. I done some work for Chuck.
Did you ever have any problems with Chuck?
No,
All right. And did he pay you for mowing his lawn and putting the fence up?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Did Chuck ever, strike that. Did you ever visit Chuck at his house?
Yeah.
Okay. How often would you go to his house?
Every other day or whenever. Whenever I catch him out there, you know, every day.
And what about his coming over to your house?
Yeah, he would come over there.
What would you guys do?
Play dominoes.
Would you do that at his house or your house? Or both?
Basically at our house.
All right. So basically you would do it at your house.
Yeah.
And who would you play dominoes with?
Chuck, the white boy that used to stay in the house right there that I told you about. Lindell, Macklemore, a couple people played there.
What was the last name you said?
Macklemore.
Let's talk about Macklemore. Who is he?
He's a friend of Lindell's.
Was he a friend of yours?
Yeah, I knew him.
But mostly friends through Lindell.
Yeah.
Do you know how long they knew each other?
I guess for a good while.
Okay. And what was the relationship? Do you know?
I don't know. They was just friends. That's all I knew.
All right. At some point in time, did they have a falling out?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, Lindell normally would hold money from Macklemore. Whenever Macklemore needs the money, he will come over to Lindell's house and come borrow it. Lindell told him, you get what you get and don't come back. But he ended up coming back 10, 11, 12 at night, whenever he got ready. So,
Well, let me ask. When you say Lindell was holding money for
Macklemore,
whose money was it?
it was Macklemore's money.
So why was Lindell holding it?
Macklemore couldn't hold it himself, I guess.
Because he'd spend it?
Yeah.
What was he spending it on?
I don't know, various drugs.
All right.
Yeah.
Bad stuff.
Yeah.
So he gave it to Lindell kind of for safekeeping.
Yeah,
All right. So Lindell, or excuse me, Macklemore would show up at all different hours,
anytime, anytime.
and that angered Lindell. Is that what you're saying?
It didn't anger him, you know. He just get tired of it. He was a nuisance, I guess.
So was Macklemore upset with Lindell?
Yeah,
Because why?
'cause he wouldn't give him no money when he would come over there to get it. I mean, late at night, he ain't getting up out of the bed and giving nobody nothing, you know.
Okay. And as a result of Macklemore getting upset or angry with Lindell, did he do anything?
Yeah, the first fire come from Macklemore.
What was the fire of?
In the backyard, he got the gas can, threw it on the van, and threw it on the house. Well, when I got up, the fire was already out. I didn't know nothing about the fire. He said, I already put the fire out by now.
So Macklemore gets mad, goes in the backyard, gets a gas can, pours it on the side of the house and
And on his van.
on Lindell's van,
Yeah,
and lights it on fire.
yeah, he lights it.
And but it goes out,
No, it burned up the van.
burned the van.
And the house, and the side of the house. He put that vinyl stuff on it. That's new stuff. Yeah.
Do you remember when that happened?
2 or 3 years ago, I guess. It could be longer than that.
So let's say Lindell's house burned down in 2016, okay? April of 2016.
Yeah, yeah.
So how long before?
I guess it was about 14 or 15, somewhere around in there. Yeah,
So a year or two before.
yeah, yeah.
Was it clear to you at that time that Macklemore was mad at Lindell?
Yeah, but they made up.
But I mean, you knew he was mad.
No, not at that time, but I found out later. When I got up, I found out. Yeah.
And so after that fire, how did they find out who did it?
Well, he knew who done it. He didn't make no bones, but he knew who done it.
So what happened after that between the two of them?
They got back together. You know, he stayed away for a while and he come back.
And when he came back, what happened? How did Lindell treat him?
I guess same as always.
Did he play dominoes with you again?
Yeah, yeah.
Did he sit on the porch with you?
Yeah, he didn't stay there all the time, but when he was over there, yeah.
So he was hanging out, playing dominoes, drinking?
Yeah.
All right. At the time of the 2016 fire, were you aware of any problems between Lindell and Macklemore?
No.
When was the last time before the fire you saw Macklemore, if you remember?
Probably within that year, you know, various places, you know.
When was the last time you saw him at Lindell's house?
It had been a while.
It had been a while?
Yeah,
Do you know if Lindell was still holding his money?
I guess so.
You guess, or?
I don't really know. I don't really know.
Okay. Was there anybody else? We've talked about the neighbors here in the neighborhood. Do you know, if you look at the map and you see 1374 Hillcrest, okay? That's one of the houses you said Stanley stayed at.
Yeah.
See that house to the left of that? Do you know who lived in that house?
This one right here,
Yes.
Pete.
Who was that?
Pete,
Pete?
a white dude.
Big, small?
Big, about your size, bigger than me.
Who lives there with him? Do you know?
His wife and his kids.
Okay. And do you or did you ever have any problems with him?
Pete?
Yes.
No.
All right. Do you see anybody like Lindell or Jeannie have any problems with them?
No.
How about the house next to that one?
I think that's LT's house.
Who is that?
LT?
Yes. Oh, excuse
Yeah.
me. You said LT and I questioned. LT?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know him by any other names? Does the name Leon?
Yeah, that's the name. Leon Taylor or Tyler, whatever.
You call him LT.
Yeah.
And do you know him?
Yeah, I know him.
And how do you know him?
I do work for him too.
Mow his lawn?
Mow his lawn, gutters.
Does he pay you?
Yes.
Do you have any problems with him?
No.
How about Lindell or Jeannie or anyone? or anyone else that you know have any problems with Leon?
No, no.
How old's Leon?
I don't know, about 80-some years old.
About 80?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else on that street that you have any problems with?
No, no,
No? All right. So let's talk about Mr. Ford. How do you know Mr. Ford?
Well, he'd be out there cutting the yard all the time, cutting his yard.
Okay. Did you ever ask him if he needed you to cut his lawn?
I know he's always done his own yard.
So you didn't even ask?
No,
And so what kind of interaction, if any, did you have with Mr. Ford?
None until the day he accused me of what it was. He accused me of something when he came over there and jumped on me. You know, yeah.
All right. So during this period of time that you lived there, how many years did you live there?
I guess about 4 or 5.
4 or 5 years? During that period of time, how long was it before you had any issues with Mr. Ford?
Probably the last 2 or 3.
2 or 3 years?
Yeah, the last 2 or 3.
Oh, the last 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So tell me what those problems were. Were they between you? Were they between him and Lindell? Between him and Jeannie? Who?
He accused me of breaking a window out of his house.
What window was it?
He said at a picture window in his backyard, and I ain't never been back in his backyard. I told him I never been back there.
He accused you?
Yeah.
What did you tell him?
He said somebody told him I was back there and that I broke the window out.
Did you do it?
No, I did not.
All right. Did he ask you to pay for it or not?
I guess he want Lindell to pay him. Lindell paid him.
Lindell paid him?
Yes, sir.
All right. So if before Lindell paid him, was there any altercation between you and Mr. Ford?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I come out there one day to pick up my trash can, and he come across the street and he talking about the window. And the next thing I know, he swung on me.
And did he hit you? Did he touch you?
Yeah, he hit me, yeah.
And what happened? What did you do?
I got back up and went back to the house.
Did you go to the ground or no?
Yeah, I think I did. I think he did knock me down, yeah.
All right. And did he say anything to you before he struck you?
He asked me about the window, I think. Yeah, he didn't. He just walked over there and jumped on me about the window, so I said, I don't know nothing about no damn window. That's what I told him, yeah.
So if I understood that right, he came over there and said something about the window.
Yeah.
And you said you didn't know anything about the window.
Yeah.
And then he swung on you.
Yeah. Yes.
All right. And then you said you went down.
Yeah.
You got back up.
Yeah.
And you went in the house.
Took the trash can back in the backyard and went in the house. Yeah.
Did you call the police?
No, I didn't.
All right. Do you do anything else?
No, I told the boy that was staying there with me, I said, the dude come over there and jump on me about the window.
And did you do anything else after that?
No, I ain't never done anything to him.
No? I don't mean to him. Do you take any action against him?
No,
Your Honor, for the record, all these exhibits we are showing to the defense counsel have previously been provided to them. We're just showing them so they know what we're using right at the moment. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 23. Take a look at that and tell me if you recognize that.
Yeah.
Your Honor, for purposes of this reading of this transcript, State's Exhibit number 23, we are now marking as State's Exhibit number 38. And I'm going
That's outside the transcript.
Yes, and I'm going to display that since I was showing that to the witness.
Alrighty. And then pick up at line 22.
Thank you. Look at both pages.
Yeah, I think this is the paper I filled out when I went down to the prosecutor's office.
To the prosecutor's office?
I went down there somewhere and filled out the papers, but on this one, yeah.
Is that your name on there?
That's my name right here, yeah.
Okay. It has is that your address and phone number?
Yes, sir.
And it has a phone number of
Right here,
330, what's it say?
400-6221.
Is that your phone number?
Yes, sir.
You went to the prosecutor's office,
Yes, sir.
and what did you go there for?
I went there because he accused me of messing up his car,
Okay.
his wife's car.
Scratching it?
Yeah, he said I scratched his wife's car.
All right. And there's a note. Well, do you remember when you went down there?
No, I don't. It was summertime. It was around the summertime, spring, whatever.
If I showed you this again, would that refresh your recollection potentially as to the dates?
Yeah, let me see that. It probably will.
If it does,
I don't see the date on here. I can't see the date. I need glasses.
that's okay. So you don't remember.
Yeah.
All right, but you went down there to make a complaint against Mr. Ford.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hugley, if I suggested to you that this said September 16th, 2015, would that?
That sound about right.
Okay. You would have no reason to disagree with that.
No.
All right. Well, your complaint at that time was that Mr. Ford was harassing you.
Yes, sir.
And did you indicate to them when this harassment was taking place?
It was going on. That's why I went down there. I mean, we done paid him for the window. The window thing was earlier. Now he comes over talking about somebody scratching his wife's car. So yeah, I went down there and filed on him.
All right. And did you tell them about the assault?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I might have did.
If I show you this document, would that possibly refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
I'll just direct you to I'll just direct you to this area here. Does that refresh your recollection?
I can't read what it says. Yeah, I filed it. Whatever it says, that's what I done. That's what I done. Whatever it says, that's what I done. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So he accused you of breaking the window.
Yeah.
You denied it.
Yeah.
But Lindell paid him for the window.
Lindell paid for the window to keep the confusion down.
Keep the what?
Confusion. He didn't want no static with anybody in the neighborhood.
Keep the confusion down and keep the static from the neighborhood?
Yeah.
After that, you're saying that he then accused you of scratching his wife's car.
Scratching his wife's car.
Did you do that?
No, I didn't.
Are you aware of anything else he accused you of?
That's enough right there. I didn't do neither one of them either. He just bringing up stuff as far as I was concerned.
Okay. So when you would sit on the porch with Lindell, Chuck or whoever was over at that time, did you ever have any interactions with Mr. Ford at that period of time?
He would come outside on the side door and would stand there and stare at us.
Did he ever do anything, say anything?
He made some gestures, you know.
What kind of gestures?
He would hold himself.
You can say it.
Yeah, he would. He know what he do. He would hold himself.
Hold himself? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
When you say hold himself, you mean between his legs?
Yes, sir.
All right, what did you guys do?
At first we watched him, then after a while it got so old we didn't pay him no damn attention when he come out and do that shit.
All right, at some point in time, strike that. What did you know, if anything, about Lindell's health?
He was in pretty bad health, you know. He got a leg messed up in a car accident. Other than that, I think he was overweight. He was overweight, but other than that, he was all right.
Do you know if he had any surgeries regarding his heart? Were you aware of that?
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
Was that before you lived there?
Yeah, I believe might have been while I was staying there. Yeah, but he had something wrong with his heart. Yeah, I think he had a pacemaker. I believe he did, yeah.
And you said he had something wrong with his leg. You said from an accident.
From an accident, yeah. Both his legs was messed up. His hip.
Go ahead.
His hip.
His hip?
Yeah.
Okay, and just prior to the fire, I'm talking about the house fire in 16. Do you know if he had any surgery prior to that fire for his hip?
No.
I'm sorry?
He had the operation before the fire.
How long before the fire, if you recall?
It might have been a year or so.
Okay. Do you know if he had 1 or 2 surgeries?
I don't know. He walked with a walker. I guess both his hips was messed up. Yeah.
So he used a walker?
Yeah, he did.
So at that time, so at the time of the fire, was he using a walker?
Yeah, that's what I said. I thought he fell. I thought he had fell.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the night of the fire, okay? On the evening of April 17th, which would have been a Sunday night, 2016, were you home?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Can you tell us, that evening, Sunday evening, what you were doing and who was there?
Okay, but I got to use the restroom. I can't hold my water. I got to use the restroom. Can I use the restroom?
Yes, don't talk to anybody about your testimony between here and the bathroom.
All right, I got to go.
All right, Mr. Hugley is back in the witness chair and we're ready to proceed. Go ahead, Mr. LaPrinzi.
Thank you, Your Honor. Okay, Mr. Hugley, so we're back at April 17th, Sunday evening, the day before or the night of the fire, so to speak. What were you guys doing and who was there?
I was in bed.
Okay.
I guess Lindell and Jeannie was upstairs.
Do you know if anybody else was in the house?
No.
You don't know, or there wasn't anybody?
I don't think there was nobody else in the house. No.
All right. And so you were downstairs in the basement and they were upstairs?
Yes.
Where was their bedroom, if you know?
Up on the second floor.
Okay. So what's the first thing? Were you awake or asleep?
I was asleep.
What's the first thing that brought you awake?
I heard arguing. I heard talking loud. That's what woke me up. Yeah.
People talking loud?
Yeah.
And then what did you do?
I just laid there. I got my TV back there. I was watching the basketball game, So I got that back together and I heard them. She was arguing with somebody.
You said you were watching a basketball game? It was probably, after 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
So what basketball game were you watching?
They played early. They played about 11 o'clock, but it come back on later.
Who was playing?
I don't know. It was a professional team.
So they were so they were replaying it?
Replaying, yeah.
So you got the TV going again, and then what?
I heard her up there arguing. I heard Lindell holler. He way upstairs in his bedroom. I heard him holler downstairs. He said, "Boo." He called her Boo. He said, "Boo, leave that shit alone." And that's when I thought I heard him fall out of the bed. I thought I heard him fall. That's why I went to the window and asked him, seen the fire lit up the driveway. The driveway lit up. I'm like, damn, the house is lit up.
You say the driveway was lit up?
Yeah.
So you heard a noise that you thought was Lindell falling out of bed?
Falling out of bed because he got through hollering at Jeannie, and Jeannie hollered back up at him, and I heard the boom. I heard a boom. I did hear a boom.
Okay. And so you got up, you went and looked out the window.
Looked out the window.
Where's that window?
In the driveway.
So do you have any windows in the basement?
Yes, on the right-hand side.
Okay. And then, so when you looked out the window, you saw it was lit up?
Yeah.
Did you see the flames?
What I seen is spark coming from you got the electrical meter at the door, and I seen spark come out there. So I thought, I got to get out of there.
Did you?
Yeah.
So where did you come out of the house?
Out the side door.
All right. And at that time, you said you couldn't go up into the house. Was that your only way to get out?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what's been previously identified as State's Exhibit number 5. And Your Honor, outside of the transcript, that would be State's Exhibit number 16 now. So I'm going to display that so it Do you recognize that at all? I know it's a little blurry.
Yeah,
If you don't, that's okay.
I'm having.
Do you recognize the house?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Okay, and is that, whose
Yeah.
house is that?
That Lindell's house.
All right. Can you tell me where the door is you would have come out? Can you tell me from that picture?
That door back here,
Okay.
back behind here.
All right. Okay. I'm going to just look for another picture here, but let me move on. Where was Jeannie when you heard her yelling? Where did you believe she was?
When I first heard her, she was on the first floor. Sounded like she was on the first floor, yeah. But when,
Well, hold on, that's a question.
yeah. Had my thumb in the wrong place.
But when you heard Lindell, you thought he was on the third floor?
He was on the third floor. He was on the third. She was on the first. She was on the first floor, and Lindell's up over her.
Second floor? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, and that's where their bedroom would be.
yeah.
All right. Were you ever inside to watch him try and get up and down the steps?
I done seen him walk. He can walk. Some days he can walk and some days he can't. But he get around. He got around.
Well, I guess my question is, how well does he get up and down the steps to his bedroom?
He do pretty well.
How does he do it if he has a walker?
He don't use the walker all the time, you know. He don't use the walker all the time. He ain't strictly confined to the walker. Some days he used the walker and the next day he don't, you know.
And you don't know how he felt that particular day?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm going to show you another picture, Mr. Hugley. This is marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit number 24. Do you recognize that?
Yes, yes, sir.
In Your Honor, outside this transcript, that would be State's Exhibit number 39 currently. Yes, it is. Oh, I'm sorry. Got it?
Line 22.
What is that?
That's the house.
When you say the house, what do you mean? The
Lindell.
house? Whose house?
Lindell's house.
All right. And what part of the house is that?
It's the side.
And does that show you the door that you came out of?
Yes, sir. Right here.
So I'm going to put this on the screen right here, and I want you to point to where that is, okay? Hold on, give me a second.
You've got to clear it.
It's not working.
I can't do it. You need to do it from there, the arrow up in the corner.
That's what I'm pushing, and it won't do anything. This might be a job for Ken.
Wait a minute. Oh, no, that's...
Wait a minute.
Let's get our guru out here. They need help clearing the screen, please. Then there's a pause in the proceedings. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Huggins.
Okay, back on track. Mr. Hugley,
Yeah.
with your finger, can you actually draw on that screen here? So draw where you came out. No, with your finger.
Oh, right here?
That's the door you came out?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you see the man on the ladder?
Yeah.
Do you know what is in that window?
That's the bathroom.
The bathroom to the house?
Yeah.
On the second floor?
Yeah.
All right. And who used that bathroom?
Lindell and his woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
After you got out of the side door, what did you do next?
I went back this way toward the back.
Toward the back of the house?
There was a van parked there, so I went back towards the back of the house. I was gonna come out the front, but the Sparks was right there in the corner. The Sparks was there, so I went to the back of the house.
And when you went to the back of the house, what did you do when you got back there?
I went back there to see about getting a ladder because I know there was a bunch of ladders in the back. I heard Jeannie up in the window. She holler out, "We can't get out, we can't get out." So I went to go back and see if I can get one of the ladders, but he had a big old chain on the ladders.
A what on the ladders?
A chain. He had the ladders tied down.
So nobody could steal them.
Right.
And you couldn't undo them.
I couldn't undo them, right.
Did Jeannie say anything after that?
No, it got really quiet in there after that.
After that, what did you do, if anything?
Well, I went up over the hill, come around, come around the block, come around to the front of the house again.
All right. And at some point in time, did some people try and help you get some clothes and blankets and socks?
Yeah, she stayed on the street.
Do you know who that was?
Yeah, I don't know her. I remember, I don't know her name. I know she stay in the neighborhood, you know.
Okay. Now, at some point in time, were you aware of, strike that, when you moved into Lindell's house, did he have surveillance cameras attached to his house?
No, no.
At some point in time, did he have cameras put on his house?
Yes, he did.
Do you know why they were put on the house?
Because the windows were broken out.
Which windows?
The front window.
Of his house?
Yeah,
And did he know who did that?
no,
Did he have a suspicion as to who did it?
yeah.
All right. And so was he trying to catch them with his video?
I guess so, yeah.
Were you there when they were put up?
I was there when the windows were broken out. I woke up the next day because Lindell told me, he said, "When did this happen?" I said, "I don't remember what happened. It must have happened that night. I heard somebody hit the porch, boom, boom. That must have been the windows getting broken out because I had the TV on so damn loud." Yeah.
And so when you got up the next day, that's when you guys,
Yeah, I said, I didn't know the windows were broke, but the window was broken out, yeah.
all right. So at that time, at the time of the fires, had the windows been replaced?
Yeah,
Or were they boarded up?
they were boarded up, I believe.
You believe or you don't know?
I don't know.
As far as you're aware, we talked about everybody in the neighborhood, and you indicated that you aren't aware that anybody that Lindell, Jeannie, or you were having problems with in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Is there anybody outside, we're not talking about Mr. McLemore, other than had him, was there anybody else that you were aware of, any one of them people that lived in the house at 719 Fultz were having issues with?
no,
And when the police came to you that night, did you tell them who you thought
yes I did.
had committed this fire?
Yes I did.
Who did you tell them you believe did this?
The man across the street.
Right now, you just used your thumb to point.
Yes, sir.
Who did you point at?
There, he.
You can move the screen. You can move that screen if you want.
Yeah, I know. I forget. Stan.
So Stan is the fellow that you said lived on the corner, 2 houses there, that you had been having trouble with.
Yes, sir.
You see him here in the courtroom today?
I do.
Point him out and describe what he's wearing.
He's wearing a blue shirt, wearing glasses. That's him.
Your Honor, we ask the record reflect the witness has identified Mr. Ford.
The record will so reflect.
I'm just going to show you a couple last pictures, Mr. Hugley, and the defense will have some questions for you, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what I previously marked as State's Exhibit number 14. Do you recognize that?
Yeah.
Your Honor, and if we could have a moment. Your Honor, I need to confer with defense counsel for a moment. Judge, can we approach?
You may. That's also outside the transcript.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate that.
Sure.
So, Your Honor, we indicated in our transcript that it was State's Exhibit number 14, which is now currently State's Exhibit number 27. Just set that out there for me, Troy, thank you. So I'll just start on that last question. I'm going to show you.
Go ahead, let's just start at 15 again. Line 15.
Yes, okay. I'm going to show you what I previously marked as State's Exhibit number 14. Do you recognize that?
Yeah,
What is that? Or what is it?
that's the camera right there.
The camera on
It's right there. Ain't that a camera right there?
whose house is that? Do you recognize the house? What color is the trim?
Blue trim, blue trim.
No. This house here.
That's the house right there where I was staying at.
This is the house you were staying at.
Yeah,
Okay, and that's Lindell's house?
yes, sir.
Is that the camera on the eve of that house?
Yes, sir.
Is that the camera, one of the cameras he had installed?
He had two of them, one on this end and one on this end.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit number 20, previously identified. Do you recognize that?
Yeah,
It's 24, but let me see here. Oh.
Line 22.
Yeah, and off the transcript, Your Honor, states 20 at that time is now currently states 24, which has already been previously identified.
Thank you.
So I'm going to show you states Exhibit number 20, previously identified. Do you recognize that?
yeah,
Who is that?
that's me.
All right. And states Exhibit number 13, off the transcript, that's now states Exhibit number 26. Do you recognize that?
That's Jeannie.
Jeannie?
Yeah,
All right. And states Exhibit number 4, do you recognize that?
that's Lindell.
And off the record, that states number 15. Okay, the night of the fire, I want to just briefly go back. Earlier in the evening, before you went to sleep, did you have anything to drink that night?
Yeah, I might have drunk a couple of beers. I was cutting a lot of grass.
You'd been cutting grass earlier?
I cut grass, Chucky Poo's grass that same day, so I probably did have a couple of beers.
Okay. And then after you cut grass, did you just go home or did you go anywhere else?
I sat down and talked for a while, and then I went home.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
I guess we sat down with Chuck and talked for a while, and then I went home.
You mean the person that you cut the lawn with?
Yeah, I was at his house cutting his grass.
Chuck's house.
Yeah, I got through cutting his grass, and I think we did have a couple of beers, and then I went home.
I see. Then you just went to the basement.
Yeah,
Spent the evening down there.
yes, sir.
Did you have any more to drink that night, if you remember?
I don't remember.
All right.
I probably did, though.
So the night of the fire when the police asked you about who you thought did it, and you said Stan,
Yeah,
why did you tell them Stan?
because I heard her arguing with somebody. I know she wasn't arguing with Lindell. She was arguing with somebody, because Lindell hollered down and said, "Leave that shit alone." So she was talking to somebody else. He told her to leave it alone.
Do you know when that was?
No, I don't. No, I don't know.
So you know if that was earlier. So you know if that was earlier in the evening or later in the evening?
It was later in the evening. It was later in the evening.
And then did you fall asleep after that?
No, I believe, no. I woke up. That's what woke me up. I heard them arguing. That's what woke me up.
Okay. And at the time, do you recall mentioning that somebody else you were having you or Lindell was having difficulty or problems with. Do you remember telling the police that?
No,
If you were having problems or difficulties with anybody else, do you remember who it might have been?
no, I don't.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have any further questions.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the cross-examination of Mr. Hugley is about to start, and that's going to take approximately another 35 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and stop here for our lunch break. I'll remind you of the admonition I've previously given you concerning your conduct. It's important that you be fair and attentive throughout the trial. Do not discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. This includes family, friends, as well as the media. You must not post or read anything about this case on the internet with any electronic device, including your cell phone. Any such discussion, if discovered, could lead to a mistrial and would severely compromise the party's right to a fair trial. Do not permit anyone to discuss it with you or in your presence, and do not form or express an opinion on the case until it's finally been submitted to you. I have 12:20. If you'll be back in the jury room at 1:20, we'll proceed at that time. We're adjourned.
All right, please. You stay in the jury room for a few moments, please. Everyone, in the jury room. Yeah, don't leave yet, please.